What's up, guys? It's Dynasty from the Mountaintops. I'm Mickey, along with Jeremy, as usual. And we have a special guest today, Tom, Honey Badger, as I know him best, I guess. How you doing today? We'll start with Tom, the guest. How you doing today?
I'm doing good. Kind of fangirling out here, being an avid listener and now being on the pod, and I guess I get to see how the sausage is made today.
Yeah, there's not much specialty to it. We literally just talk. But I appreciate the thought process that we're doing anything extra. That's very nice of you to think. Ackman, how you doing, man?
Doing real good, man. Next week, seeing AC/DC for the second time in as many weeks. So, looking forward to that.
Where are they at?
Cleveland.
Nice.
Mere 2-hour drive. It'll probably take it under 2 hours. But yeah, at Cleveland Brown Stadium.
Oh, that's cool.
Pretty fun, yeah.
That'll be awesome. Tom, since you're brand new to the first time being on the podcast here, I appreciate you listening every week, by the way. I don't know how many of those we have, so thanks. Tell us a little bit about yourself, definitely like your history in fantasy football, especially Dynasty.
Okay. I kind of got into redraft fantasy football, I'd say probably around 2011, and I kind of really fell in love with like the idea of like being more involved in the sport other than just being a supporter of my own team kind of thing. And then, that's how I kind of met Jeremy, and we kind of got involved with that kind of stuff that way. And then I got into my first Dynasty League about 4 years ago. And then after that, I was hooked. The idea of being able to build and decide how you want to do your team and future thoughts and kind of taking your shot mentality kind of really blossomed on me. And now I'm in 3, or was 4, but RIP. We had a league that got decommissioned. But I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying the Dynasty aspect a lot.
Yeah, shout out to you, Tom. For those that don't know, or those that have not picked it up on nonchalantly, that my first experience with Dynasty was via Tom. I was a co-manager of his first Dynasty team, and after that first year, I took over a team in that same league, and the rest is history. So I owe my Dynasty experience and at least start to Tom as well.
I blame myself for my own nemesis.
Yeah, I mean, you got me 2 titles under the same league. So thank you.
I didn't do jack. I was trying to stop it.
So you were the mastermind behind Jeremy's titles, is what I'm hearing?
No, he gave Satan a key.
Yeah.
I see.
But grudgingly.
Yeah.
He gave me the passcode to the door, and now I won't leave.
I get that. Yeah, and once you touch Dynasty, it's like completely different if you love it, right? Like
100%.
It's hard to go back to redraft now. Like, I don't think I could.
I have one league that I do redraft and then a guillotine league, but that's it. And the only reason I do that redraft is because it's like a 3-person keeper, and we've had it for like 20 years, so or like 15 years now. So like it's hard to with that one. You know what I mean?
That makes sense.
But yeah, Dynasty is just a whole other beast, and it's like playing Madden on Dynasty mode, right? Like create your own, create your best team you can. It's sweet. So that's cool. Thank you for indulging us with your history of football fantasy there. For everyone else, we are going to talk about our 10-team Superflex rookie mock draft. Kind of to wrap up our rookie talk as we get into the summer, and the NFL draft is now completely over. Everyone's kind of settling in, signing contracts, things like that. So we wanted to do one more week of kind of dissecting a little bit more of how we think these rookies are going to play out. And we enlisted some help from some other teams in our leagues. Tom, obviously you're one of them from our golf league, and Jeremy's other league that he has there, one of them. So, we had Jimmy, who obviously has been on the podcast before, my wife, Nikki, and then Jeremy, you had one other friend who was on there, I believe. I don't want to get his name wrong.
Greg, yeah, good friend of mine, Greg. Big dynasty. I got him hooked in a dynasty this year. He's new in a dynasty as of like last year going into it, and he is hooked.
Yeah, I was the same way, dude. I get it. Like, once you start the idea, it's like, oh man, this is amazing. So enough of me like talking super highly on Dynasty football here.
This is a Dynasty podcast after all.
It is a Dynasty podcast. That is a great point.
Some startups are like crack.
They really are. They're a lot of fun. So we're gonna just basically go through the first round. We did a four round mock draft, excuse me, and we're gonna go through the first round. I'm gonna say all the picks, and then kind of dissect a little bit more. Go to the second round, say all the picks, dissect a little bit more, just so everyone understands how we're kind of working through this here. So in the first round, obviously no surprise, even Jimmy knows. Ashton Genty is the number one pick. Travis Hunter was number 2. That was a auto pick. Cam Ward by my wife, which I think she just saw a quarterback and got excited. Amarian Hampton, Tyrone McMillan. I picked Trevion Henderson at number 6. Tom, you picked Quinshon Judkins at number 7. Emeka Ibuka got taken as an auto pick right before my boy Ackman took RJ Harvey and Tyler Warren. So my first question, obviously, is a layup for Jeremy. Did the auto pick take your pick?
Yeah, total layup. Auto pick took my pick. No secret on this pod. Ibuka is probably my favorite wide receiver out of this class. So yeah, when I saw that pop, I like he was in my queue. He was ready to go. Finger was over the draft button, and as soon as it went, I was like, I said some curse words. I saved that you don't have to edit, but nevertheless, yeah, definitely took my pick.
Tom, what was your pick that you were thinking was going to be there gone, or is that who you wanted in Quinshon Judkins? Kind of break that.
If Tet would have fallen, I would have definitely taken the stab. But I felt at 7, there's no way he would fall that far. I personally, like Jeremy, was wavering between Ibuka also, but I kind of decided to take the role of which players would I select that I felt would make more of an immediate dynasty fantasy impact. So I went Judkins over Ibuka. I still like Ibuka, but I think he's more of like a year 2, 3 maybe dynasty kind of guy versus I see Judkins kind of coming in and being like RB1 for the team week 1 kind of thing.
So went for the hammer instead of like the slow simmer to be.
Yeah.
Right. Awesome. And for me, Trevion Henderson, everyone knows this. I have liked him from jump. I love speed. He has it all of that speed. And I don't trust Ramondre Stevenson at all, having him on my dynasty team and other fantasy teams multiple years, unfortunately. So that was pretty easy pick for me as well. Were there any surprises in the first round for you guys?
I think Tyler Warren got as early as he did. I think that was a little bit of a surprise. No knock on Tyler Warren as a player, but again, there is some debate of who tight end 1 out of this class is just recently, especially post draft with the landing spots. But in my opinion, I think that Tyler Warren was a little bit higher than anticipated.
Yep.
So
him being a Penn State guy, I think, helped rise his draft capital here, though, too.
It's a possibility. I don't know if Greg is a Penn State guy or not. You know that, Ackman, do you?
More a local sports guy. I think he's more than Penn State, but yeah, I'm sure that had a little bit of weight.
Yeah, it was so funny because we've been talking about Tyler Warren being like a dog, right? Like one of those dudes. And then he went to Indianapolis where they have one of the 2 teams that have 3 backup quarterbacks. And now everyone's like, well, is he going to be okay? Is he going to be, you know what I mean? So who would you put there, Tom, if you were making that 10th pick?
I think I would go Loveland over Warren, to be honest.
So tight end, you just like
tight end. If I just swapped the tight ends kind of in a situation there, I'd kind of follow the NFL drafts kind of suit and just go with that. Now, I mean, that's not to knock Tyler Warren because I do believe in, like, if the talent's there, regardless of landing spots, sometimes dog's going to eat, you know?
Right. How about you, Ackman? Same deal, or?
Yeah, I support the tight end there, especially with this class. Again, I don't think you can go wrong with either Loveland or Warren, but I was surprised to see Warren go first, just out of the few mocks that I've seen. And to be honest with you, we can kind of just focus on the actual individual drafter. I'm surprised that Caleb Johnson did not go in that spot. Greg's a massive Steeler fan, and looking at the potential of Caleb Johnson, I think just on paper, in a dynasty format, I would take Caleb Johnson, a potential RB1 on the Pittsburgh Steelers, versus Tyler Warren, who is going to be pass catcher 3 on a team that likes to run the ball. So yeah, I think just looking at this in a what would I do, and looking at who was drafting in that, just because I know the individual personally, I'm surprised Caleb Johnson didn't go there.
Yeah, and that was the last question I was going to ask, was kind of RJ Harvey versus Caleb Johnson. We've been like flip flopping those consistently. Mm-hmm. Was there any thought process to pick anybody else instead of RJ Harvey for you, Ackman?
For me, no. I wanted the chip in the RJ Harvey wagon. I'm a firm believer of not necessarily that Sean Payton is the god of NFL coaching, but I do believe that history has a chance of repeating itself. And looking in what he has done for the early 2000 Saints, I mean, the writing's on the wall. He's doing very similar with Bo Nix. That's why I would lead my draft pick to Bo Nix in our golf league last year in the rookie draft, because I trust the coaching system. And I think RJ Harvey is the same aspect here. I am a little bit bigger of a fan of Jaylen Warren than the average person, so I don't think that this is going to be something where Caleb Johnson comes in and steals the show. I think Warren is going to feast. He was patient during the Najee days, and I think that's going to show, and the coaching staff's going to support that. So that was my decision there. I think it's a little bit more of a wide open shotgun blast of running backs in the Denver room versus the 1-2 in Pittsburgh that it's going to end up being.
That's a great point. So anything else in the first round you guys saw, questions, anything like that? Obviously, my biggest problem with the first round was my wife's picking of the quarterback that early.
Hey, if this was super flex though, he's got to go. And if you're a quarterback, like this is where the gym beat the drum of know your league. It's just a matter of knowing what you need in as well. And in this scenario, the quarterback was needed. I mean, I drafted Jackson Dart in our golf league at 1-2, and most people are going to look at that as wild. It's just a matter of preference and desire. That's what's fun about this. But I mean, in a super flex, I don't necessarily downplay it too much.
No, absolutely. But
get your guy.
Go ahead, Tom. Sorry.
No, sorry. I was just saying, you always got to get your guy.
That's very true. Absolutely. So we're going to move on to the second round here. The prior mentioned Caleb Johnson at number 11, 2.1. Then we have Jackson Dart, Colston Loveland, Matthew Golden, Cam Scatterbo, unfortunately, Jack Bash, who was my pick, Trey Harris, who was Tom's pick, Luther Burden then was picked by the computer, and that left Jeremy with Mason Taylor and Jaden Higgins for Greg, who rounds out the second round there. We'll start with Tom. Trey Harris, was that your target in the second round since you kind of knew where you were, or what was your thought process there?
Yeah, he was my target. I kind of had that moment where I weighed him and Luther Burden, and I kind of was like, well, I got Burden in the golf league, and I felt whenever I was picking Burden in the golf league, I was weighing between Trey Harris also. Mm-hmm. And it was kind of similar to the Ibuka thing. I think Trey Harris, there's an opportunity there. Quentin Johnson has shown nothing. There's Mike Williams there, which if this was the Chargers circa 2017, you'd be a little bit more excited. But I think Trey Harris had a great college season last year. We're playing only, I think, 8 games? He got 1,000 yards in 8 or 6 games or something like that. So I think that there's opportunity there for him to kind of be that X receiver, open up the field, stretch the field kind of thing, and make an impact early. So he was 100% my target.
Nice, yeah. Those 3 wide receivers, Besh, Harris, Burden, I guess maybe Golden a little bit too. I don't have him as high, but in the backside of that, he went a little bit earlier. Those 4 guys are right in a group to me. I do tier system, and they're real close to the same tier. Just because Besh, there's no one around him. That's why I took him. I have him a little bit higher in that same tier than Harris, but Harris was a guy I was thinking of. I love Cam Scatterbo. I was a little upset that he got taken before me, the pick before me, but And Luther Burden, I was huge on, and then he went to Chicago. Like, I was like, all right, so 7 pass catchers, and he is the second round pick. That might be a little tough. So I've pulled down a little bit on Luther Burden this year. I'm going to try to get him in the future. You guys didn't hear that. But yeah, I've those 4 guys I think you're splitting hairs, right? Like, I don't know how you guys feel about that, but I think Besh was a little bit lower, but with where he went, he has the opportunity to be the number 1, or if number 2, if you want to say Jacoby Myers. But Matthew Golden, there's 8 wide receivers on that team, I think. So
yeah, the Packers are so hard to kind of read when it comes to that.
Yeah. So that's how I saw kind of that middle of that second round, was all those guys were kind of clumped together. And for me personally, I picked the guy who I thought might have the biggest upside early, if that makes sense. Jeremy, what about you? You got your guy.
I got my guy.
We talked about this last week. You got your dude, so I'm sure you're pretty excited, Harvey. And
yeah, I'm pretty pumped about this. I didn't want to miss out on him again. A lot of individuals are ranking Loveland and Warren as tight end 1s in this class. I think Taylor needs to be in this as a 3-headed monster discussion. I think it's going to be very evident come September that I'm right on this. I don't really throw my hat too much in regards of arrogance and cocky toward too many things, but I think I nailed this one, and I'm very envious of your wife having Mason Taylor. I think he has potential to be wide receiver 2 on the Jets this season. Justin Fields loves his tight ends, and I truly do feel that he's going to jump right in there. He has fantastic pedigree, if you believe in that kind of stuff, from family heritage into the system and everything in between. The dude's got hands, the dude's got speed, and he understands the game, and he's built. The dude's big. So I think he's going to be a big red zone target. I think he's going to be a nice handcuff for Justin Fields, and I am ecstatic that I had him, be it a fake imaginary draft.
Yeah, no, I mean, how much we talked about this guy last week, when he was available at 19, I was like, all right, that's 100%. You probably didn't take, 10 seconds to make this pick?
Yeah.
So,
and to play on a little bit what you said, I don't necessarily tier myself, but I think you nailed it on the head with that group of 4 wide receivers, and your pick as well. I do think Besh has a little bit of worry about with Jacoby. I'm a Jacoby owner, and I don't think he has too much to worry about that. I think Brock Bowers is a little bit more of a concern, but I think you made the right pick. I think Burton is a similar situation as Igbuka. I think the talent's there, but the depth chart isn't. And like I said, we have Trey Harris, who no knocking on Tom's pick there, but like I think I'm taking Jack Beck a little bit over that as well, just because again, the seeding parts and path of start. But to answer your question, I think you nailed it on the head with that group of 4 wide receivers.
Yeah, thanks. And Trey Harris and Jack Beck, kind of the same idea in their systems. They are the one-of-one in what they do. Like Bowers is going to be in the middle. Jacoby kind of plays the middle a little bit. So Besh is going to be able to play on the outside, right?
Yeah.
Trey Harris, he's the gunner. Like, he is going to be the deep ball player, right? The boomer bust kind of play. Because Quentin Johnston, as much as I was hoping that worked out, it did not.
Hands like rocks.
What's that?
Hands like rocks.
Yeah, unfortunately. And Lad McConkey's just going to own that middle of the field there with Gadsden probably, I'm assuming. But they got the Jets tight end, didn't they?
Yeah, they got Conklin.
Yeah, they got Conklin too.
So it might take a year or 2 for Gadsden.
Gadsden's got some hype behind it, but I think it's more the name than anything.
Yeah, his name's pretty cool. Yeah, I agree with that. I'm not even trying the first name, but Gadsden
sounds like Gaston. That's what I think of.
That's funny. Going back to the Disney days, I love it. All right. Anything else for the second round? If you were the 1 or the 2-1, would you have taken Caleb here or someone else?
Yeah, I like that pick of Caleb. Just supporting him. I think I would have taken him at the 110. So for him to be available at the 2-1, considering what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 running backs went out of the first 10 picks, I think you're sitting there with him as your 6th best running back at the 2-1. I think you're happy.
No, absolutely. And I think the only other person might have been Jackson Dart I was thinking of. Probably would have thought about that for 2 seconds and then still taking Caleb Johnson. So
yeah, I'm a massive Jackson Dart fan. Obviously, the
Me too.
podcast is no history, but I still think I'm taking Caleb Johnson over Jackson Dart.
Perfect. Moving on to round 3, we have Tyler Shuck. I hope that's how you say his name. Kyle Williams, Michelle Tootin, Jalen Milrow, Jaden Blue. I took Jalen Knoll. I think that's how you say it. Then, Tom, you took Ollie Gordon. Then Shador Sanders. Jalen Royals was taken by Jeremy and rounded out by Will Howard. So by my little chuckle at the end, you can tell I was kind of surprised Will Howard went in the 3rd round. So surprises for you guys?
No surprise in the Will Howard. Again, just circling back to personally knowing the individual. No surprise on the Will Howard at all. To be honest with you, I don't know if it's my lack of awareness or if it's just the Reddit/Twitter community, but I don't know the hype on Kyle Williams. It feels as if the New England wide receiving room is going to be top heavy with Diggs. And we have so many other hands in that wide receiving room, from Booty to Douglas to 2 wide receivers who last year everybody was everyone's darling between Polk and Baker. You couldn't draft one or the other because you couldn't decide between the 2, and those 2 were minuscule at best in regards to offense. So I don't know if it's not necessarily the knock on Kyle Williams. It's just the hype of this New England wide receiver in a room that has zero promise of wide receivers, or it's just such a cluster of wide receivers. That one surprises me, and that's not necessarily just in this draft, but I guess in the overall dynasty community in general.
Yeah, so from what I've heard and kind of what I believe as well is Drake May's the dude, right? He's going to find somebody as his number 1. And Diggs is probably going to be there a year, maybe. They have all these other guys like Keyshawn Booty and, like you said, Polk. I still think Polk's going to do something, but I'm a little.
I agree. No, I like Polk. Polk, but not to cut you off, but that's to my point. Like there's a lot of youth and talent in that wide receiving room, and everyone's considering this guy as like the major steal of the draft. And I guess I just don't see it. I support the main love, but I think that room makes it a little cloudy.
Also, not to cut anybody off, but I think the Patriots wide receiver room is a perfect example of like the urgency of like the fantasy community. Oh, what's next? What's new? What's hot? What's now? Sort of thing. And it's just Kyle Williams is it. If we just went down a list of 4 or 5 other wide receivers who were just drafted last year and the year before, and you can give countless examples of guys who take year 3. Look at Nico Collins. Nico Collins was a nobody until year 3. Now he's a top 10, top 15 dynasty asset sort of situation.
Now that's an absolutely great point, but I think the hype, and I kind of was gaining on this. I've slowed down since, but is the fact that no one else has proved that they can do it. Why not this guy that we haven't seen yet, and take the upside, as I like to say, rather than some other options that are, I wouldn't say huge upside at that spot, but. Yeah, he surprised me a little bit to be a 3 dog too, the 3-2. So, anything else? I want to hear your thought process on Ollie Gordon, because you're the first person that I've seen anywhere near the 3rd round with Ollie Gordon. So I want to hear what your thought process was there.
I think it was kind of looking at what else was around. I felt that there was nobody else I wanted to take a reach on. I kind of thought about Sampson there for a little bit. I kind of like him as somebody's going to have to be the number 2 opportunity in Cleveland. But I kind of ultimately, again, with Ollie Gordon, went to the realm of opportunity. Mostert's gone. Wright was kind of drafted last year. He was mixing a little bit, but he still hasn't. He's shown flashes. But who is going to be that number 2? Who's going to fill into that Mostert role behind a chain, or if a chain goes down? And it's like it has to be somebody, and Ollie Gordon showed great college production and pass protection, and that's a good way for a running back, other than, your yards per carry to stay on the field, is pass protection. And we know Tua needs pass protection. So, I was like, well.
I was surprised with the Ollie Gordon, but I do like the pick because I don't know how fast he is because that is kind of what they look for. But they haven't had a banger there, like a big physical presence. And I always think a running back needs to have that. You either need to be a blazer like Achane or a pounder. Those are the two that I love to watch. So they have both, and they'll be able to kind of play off each other. I think probably play at the same time, even if they see something special in Gordon. So I like it. It's definitely going to be goal line, right?
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's a positive. I just never thought about him being taken that early, and I think with Wright, it's more like Achane's backup. Where Gordon is kind of has his own specialty on this team, if that makes sense. So,
yeah, I think you look at it kind of Mike McDaniel operates kind of similar to how Ben Johnson did with the Lions last year. There was the guy who was like the speed guy, the passing down guy, and then there's like, hey, this is a guy who's going to run between the tackles. This is the short yardage. Hey, we need first down, 3rd and 1, 4th and 1. Hey, 1st and goal, 3rd and goal sort of situation. And that's kind of the way I saw his role slotting in.
Love it. And then, Ackman, what about you with Jalen Royals? KC hype?
Yeah, KC hype and lack of wide receiver takeage. I grabbed my boy Mason Taylor, and the wide receivers kind of went on a decent run there, and there really wasn't. I mean, there was a lot of top names and mid-tier guys taken, but I mean, I went with the KC hype. I don't think he gets obviously a path to play right away. I think it's a little tight considering the tight end sets that the Kansas City Chiefs play, and they seem to be taken care of already with Rice, Hollywood Brown, and Worthy. But like before the dude got hurt. He had the speed. He's built and has the same exact play style as Rashee Rice, who has been mucho successful there in the Kansas City. So if you can have a Rashee Rice on the left and a Rashee Rice on the right, Patrick Mahomes is going to be fantastically hooked up. And then furthermore, like you have like just his overall skill set. Like I think he was on pace for 29 missed. He had 29 missed tackles forced. Before he got hurt, and the only one that was ahead of him that was Luther Burden at 30, and that's what he finished with. So he clearly would have had the most tackles missed in the wide receiver category. So I think all of that goes into play, and I think that stood out to me over the last few wide receivers that were left.
I love it. That makes a lot of sense. I know I took Noel, but Royals was 100% on the radar there, as well as they took Jaden Blue, and I was pretty upset about that. So I had to pivot. So I get it though. It might take a couple years, but you never know. You have no idea what's going on with this Kansas City team. Like, obviously, Kelsey's going to retire shortly. Has to, right? Like, I can't see him playing too much longer. Brown, who knows how long he's going to be on the team for? Who knows what's going on with Rice? I know you think it's going to be kind of blown over, but I don't know. Andy Reid doesn't really play too well with problem people, as I like to say. So that doesn't work out very well all the time.
Yeah, it's a great point because the writing could be on the wall. Because, like I said, a lot of Royals comps are Rashee Rice. So if Reed's one of those types that he's kind of just wants to keep cycling through the wide receivers and cycling through the running backs, I think we might start seeing that with Pacheco this season, where he does not get the extension that everyone's thinking he's going to get. We might get that with Rice as well. I don't want to say it blows over. I just don't know if it's going to have too much professional impact toward him in regards to any type of suspension. I do think this is going to be something that he has to handle, but nevertheless, that is something that's great to point out. If there is any type of suspension or pause on Rashee Rice's, you have this opportunity for Royals. So it's a great point that you make about Andy Reid and his lack of tolerance toward this kind of stuff.
Yeah. So anything else from you, Tom, in the third round there?
What are you guys' thoughts on Jalen Milroe? Jalen Milroe was at the 1-6. Would you have taken him?
The 3-6?
Or the 3-6, yeah, sorry.
If Jaden Blue wasn't there, I probably would have taken him. Absolutely, yes.
Okay. So you're big on Jaden Blue also?
Javonte Williams hasn't been good.
Yeah. As a Cowboys fan, right, there's nobody there. It's kind of, who's it going to be?
Yeah, right. And they wanted their Texas guy, and they finally got one. It's just not one of the ones that they were really excited for.
Yeah.
But for me, and I said this last week on the pod, Jalen Milroe shows the biggest upside out of anybody on this list in the entire team. If he puts it together like Lamar figured it out, he's a top 3, top 5 dynasty player, and we'll be drafting him in those first 5 to 7 picks in a starter draft if he figures it out. And at the third round, that's kind of what I'm looking at. So if he fell to 3-6 instantly, it would have been even quicker than that.
Oh yeah, it's easy with the potential that could be.
Yeah. In the third round, fourth round, that's usually what I'm looking for, is like who has the highest potential or who has the quickest way to get points. Those are the two things that I really look for. Not necessarily who might make it work later on, but like if this works, he's a stud. Unfortunately the computer picked him, which was unfortunate to me, but yeah, that's who I was originally targeting in the third round, and probably in almost any draft I have, I'd be targeting him there as a dynasty player. So, are you as high on Milroe or no?
I like Milroe a lot. It's in this quarterback class, like so the potential, the upside. What?
I said, so you saw the Georgia game?
Yeah,
because that's like the only one that mattered for him. So, I get that. So. What do you guys think about Tyler Shuck as well? Like me and Jeremy talked about last week, if he's a starter, this is an unbelievable spot. But who knows, right?
Yeah, I think it all depends on exactly how he falls in regards to going here. I against Spencer Rattler, who no one seems to remember is still there. And he's justifiably so. Last year he didn't really put up the numbers, but nevertheless, I agree. If he ends up being a starter, it's a slam dunk spot. But I think Jalen Milroe goes there if Carr doesn't announce his retirement. Yeah. Like I think Carr announcing retirement, being that sure out, is the only reason why Milroe is not the next quarterback taken. But I think Carr's announcement has made that murky path of starting a little bit more clear for Tyler.
Milroe's definitely the more long-term play.
Yes.
Of the two.
Yeah. I also don't believe in Sam Darnold. I think he's a little bit more sooner than people may give him credit for in Milroe. So we'll see there as well. But I haven't forgotten about Rattler. Look, you could have had almost any pocket passer on that team. And they had Kamara. I think he got hurt later in the season, but they had Kamara and who else? Because the two wide receivers got injured like 4 weeks into the season.
Shaheed got hurt like week 3.
Yeah.
Bob Means. Numbers.
Yeah.
Shaheed, yeah, I'm a big Shaheed fan.
That hurt me last year.
Bob Means was there. Kendra Miller.
Sorry, being a Pitt fan, I had to laugh at that one. Yeah, but no, Bob Means was on the field. That's what I was saying. Like, put a pocket passer on this team, and no one. Pick your favorite pocket passer. I don't care. Even Peyton wasn't going to be able to get this team to be good because they have nobody, right? So hopefully they give Rattler the chance. We'll see if that happens or not. I've been a big Rattler fan since he was in Oklahoma, so we'll see what happens there. But I love when people say his name and it's not me.
I view Show as kind of like this year's Levis. I think he's a 1-year rental, and then the Saints just have third guy next year.
I kind of agree with that too, especially with the strong class that they have coming in, and don't really expect too much from the Saints. So
yeah,
might have a pretty decent pick. That was one that I was really surprised 2 quarterbacks went before those two. So I kind of wanted to get your thought on that. On those 2 guys. So we're going to move on to the 4th round here. Final round that we did, and doing okay on time, not too shabby. 1 wide receiver taken in this, and it was me. So Dylan Sampson, Terrence Ferguson, Trevor Etienne, Elijah Arroyo, Harold Fannin, Elike Manor, the lone wide receiver, was taken by me. Then Kyle Mononga was taken by Tom. Devin Neal, computer pick. DJ Giddens for Jeremy, and rounding out, I guess, Mr. Irrelevant, I guess you would say in this league, in this draft, Jordan James. So Kyle Monangai, 7th round pick, I think. What was the thought process there?
I'm a big believer in. I like all the scope of draft capital as running backs, but then here we are. We're in the 4th round, and I'm a big believer in production. In college, two back-to-back 1,200-yard seasons, and I think 699 carries without a fumble, which is I hear a good thing to have. Ball security in the NFL. And he was a pass pro. He's on pass protection a lot. You have Ben Johnson who comes in, and he's kind of like new man on campus, and I kind of look at him kind of to mold, look at the moves he's done with the Bears, revamping the offensive line, getting some offseason acquisitions in that aspect, and kind of Roschon Johnson kind of hasn't really done nothing. Swift has kind of been injury prone throughout his career, and I look at it as like a path for opportunity similar to kind of Ollie Gordon. If Roschon Johnson hasn't shown anything, if Ben Johnson comes in and tries to implement Swift to kind of be the Gibbs, I think Monangai has a good possibility to be out there in pass pro and kind of the Monty in that system.
Yeah, no, I love that take. I was pretty high on Monangai before the draft, and then the NFL wasn't high on him, so I kind of dropped him a little bit. You know what I mean? He's a great spot, but
yeah, I totally agree. And I think he's someone that me and Jeremy kind of talk about this a little bit. Like we have a later draft later in this year, like Labor Day weekend. And I think there's some players like Monangai is one I think that will be a riser and be drafted maybe in the 3rd, 2nd round in like drafts come like later in the year kind of thing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I can definitely see that from a few guys, especially in the 4th round here. So, for sure. I was surprised by the pick, but just because of what I've heard. But my thought process was kind of the same as yours. Like, these guys are going to get opportunities. Like, there's no one really in front of them that is special, and Ben Johnson has already had Swift leave his team before. So obviously he's not a diehard Swift fan. So, and they've also used somebody other than Swift in that spot when he was in Detroit. So I like that. And DJ Giddens, don't know a whole lot about him. I just know he's going to be Taylor's backup more than likely.
Yeah, I'm not the biggest Jonathan Taylor fan. Let's make that very clear. I think he is an elite talent, but I think he is beyond overrated in regards to his injuries. Let's put it this way, everyone loves to highlight Christian McCaffrey's injury history. Did you know that Jonathan Taylor, in the exact same span of 3 seasons, missed 3 more games than Christian McCaffrey? Oh, and Christian McCaffrey missed almost the entire season last year. So that to me tells me that there's a focus of a fragile running back, not necessarily on the right running backs. I found DJ Giddens to be an absolute steal in this 4th round because, again, I'm going with the path of usage. Trey Sermon's gone out of the Indy Colts. He is now a part of the Pittsburgh Steelers. And Jonathan Taylor, again, cannot stay healthy. I think only Jonathan Taylor owners could admit the lack of health of Jonathan Taylor. You have DJ Giddens. He was 2nd in this running back class for rushing success rate on short yardage. He's very good at diagnosing lanes. He's very good at cutting through, very shifty with the ball, and unlike Jonathan Taylor, the dude can catch in the backfield. Taylor has never been really a focal point. I think he has like 30 catches in 2-3 years. He's never been a focal point in the backfield in regards to pass catching, so he has that ability as well. So I think DJ Giddens is somebody like what Badger was mentioning, and I think he is going to be somebody that's going to work his way up a little bit on the ranks, especially if Jonathan Taylor can't get through a camp healthy.
No, that's a good point. Agree. Oh, go ahead, Tom. Sorry.
No, I was just saying I 100% agree, and I actually had considered Giddens at my pick for a lot of the similar reasons. So it was kind of that flip the coin, pick one kind of situation.
Yeah, I mean, to your point, both guys in behind injury prone running back ones. So 100% understand that. Also, I think people I said this earlier in the year or whatever, right after the fantasy playoffs, but the last 3 weeks of the regular season, or our playoffs, I guess, but the regular season of NFL, he went absolutely off in Jonathan Taylor, and people forget about how average he was the other 14 weeks. So, and I think it's happened 2 years in a row, basically, that's been the case.
And it inflates the numbers.
It insanely inflates the numbers. He was ungodly in the playoffs for fantasy football. Don't get me wrong. If you got in the playoffs with him somehow, you probably won. But you had to get there, and he didn't do much to help you with that. So I think he's a little overrated as well. I think me and you have talked about this before, Jeremy.
Yeah.
A lot of people put him a little bit higher than I do, especially with these young guys who are studs, in my opinion, coming out. I'm
not saying, for the record, I'm not saying Jonathan Taylor sucks.
No.
I think Jonathan Taylor is overrated.
The hype, yeah.
I think Jonathan Taylor's injury history is not talked about enough.
Yeah. I think there's another element, too. We don't know who the Colts quarterback is going to be. If it's Anthony Richardson, you could argue that Jonathan Taylor's ceiling is capped a little with the rushing upside of Anthony Richardson.
Yeah, I mean, I think all three of the quarterbacks you can say that about, because they're better at running than they are at passing. All three of them. If you want to throw Riley Leonard in there too, I mean, I've been stealing Riley Leonard in like the 4th or 5th round just in case he gets the start in Indy, because the other two are not good and proven not good. So,
as bad as he is a quarterback, Daniel Jones can run the ball.
Yeah.
Dude got some wheels, man.
He got the wheels. Just watch the neck.
Dude got some wheels, and I don't know if I want to stand in front of him to tackle him. He might not be the best quarterback, but the dude's up there in regards to a scrambling quarterback.
Right.
Yeah,
but unfortunately, go ahead. Sorry, Tom.
No. I was just saying he'll lower the shoulder.
Oh yeah. But unfortunately, he is with the arguably best Russian quarterback.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Lamar. So it's going to be hard for him if they all three can't pass. It's going to be Anthony Richardson.
Yeah, we don't need quarterbacks that can run. We need quarterbacks that can pass. Michael Pittman is begging, please.
Josh Downs too, brother.
Out there scratching his neck like the Chappelle meme. Get them targets.
Right. That's funny. So at 4.1, we'll switch gears a little bit, because I'm always interested, because the first pick's always interesting. Like, it's usually who that person thinks should have been in the 3rd round. Would you guys have taken anyone else there? Do you think anyone else kind of makes sense to have been taken in the 3rd round or in that 4.1? I should have said which person. My bad.
I think you flip Sanders kind of there. I think Sanders shouldn't have went in 3rd round based off of how things are with. There's so many quarterbacks. I mean,
I won't get on my soapbox this week. I promise. Yeah.
No, I think I agree with you, Tom. I think if you're going to switch anybody out from the 3rd round, I think you can move either Shedeur or Will Howard out of that 3rd round. And move up Dylan Sampson. I'm not hating on Dylan Sampson. I'm just a diehard, every day that passes more Quinshon Judkins fan. So I think he's going to take majority of the snaps. So I mean, that's why I'm downplaying Sampson's son. But I think I'd take any one of those 3 tight ends that followed immediately after Sampson over Sampson. I'm a big Ferguson fan. I think he's going to blend extremely well under the McShay umbrella. Arroyo and Fannin both are fantastic tight ends, and I believe in that tight end tier 2 if you were ranking them. And like I said, I'd have Mason Taylor in 1, Warren in 1, as well as Loveland. I'd put those 2 in 2. But nevertheless, I think I'd maybe have a tight end at that 4-1 spot. But other than that, I don't necessarily hate the Sampson pick.
Yeah, I think it's really funny. So we ended up having 4 computers, and the first 3 picks in the 4th round for the computers or the auto draft were the 3 tight ends.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, so everyone picked running back except for me in this round, because the computer picked the 3 tight ends.
Oh yeah, touche. Yeah,
really
she was just saying now. Yeah. So the 3 auto picks for tight ends. Everybody else took a running back except you.
Yeah. It just shows how deep the running back class was.
Yeah.
And I think me and you kind of like the wide receiving class as well, but not everyone does, if that makes sense. And Alec Manor, just real quick, I've been talking about him for...
Yeah, man, you really only want to take a wide receiver in this round.
Yeah.
You hyped him up last round, so yeah, the floor is yours, Mick.
I believe Calvin Ridley is fine. He's not what he was in Atlanta, but he's fine. But I believe Alec Manor has the best chance to be the number 2 wide receiver. Burks is a joke. Lockett is... I forgot he was on the team, to be honest. Lockett is old. And I know we've talked about Restrepo as well, but I think he's going to kind of be the Lockett replacement next year or in a couple of years or whatever. So I really think Alec Manor has a really good chance to branch out and try something or be a little bit more than what people are giving him credit for. So I didn't like the guy coming out, but he ended up falling on the right team. If everyone says Cam Ward's going to be good, he needs more than just Calvin Ridley. So I'm expecting him to be able to perform, or at least having the opportunity to perform this year. So, your thoughts on Manor or Tom?
I like the assessment. I actually consider the Titans wide receiver room kind of very similar to the Packers wide receiver room. You have guys there who have proven talent, who kind of there's no clear cut number 1 guy. Like you said, Ridley isn't the guy anymore, or he maybe is, maybe isn't. But I think there's just too many mouths to feed, too many guys who could contribute. So like the idea of like taking a stab at, hey, maybe he is the guy.
Yeah. Am I missing that they got somebody else other than Lockett?
They got some guy, Kymir Dyke. They drafted him too.
Oh yeah, no, they drafted him. They got Restrepo.
No. I believe you're right. I believe it's Calvin Ridley, Trevion Burks, Tyler Lockett, Restrepo, and your boy.
Yeah. So
I think it's that 5.
Okay, I was just double checking because I was like, I don't see how Manor doesn't get on the field because the Burks.
No, I think he gets on the. I think he gets on the field. I think Restrepo shows up a little bit more, starts the season a little bit more on special teams, and then works his way to the field. I think you do have the elderly aspects like the Tyler Lockett's, and Calvin Ridley's no slouch. He's 30. Like so I think you're going to have the injuries happen, and individuals are going to move themselves up. I guess I'm a little bit higher on the Titans wide receiver room. I think Calvin Ridley is going to feast this year. I don't see him as a long-term plan like you guys have highlighted, but I do think Calvin Ridley's going to feast this year. And I am an avid fan of Tyler Lockett. I think he's a decent slot position that's going to be added into there. I think it's going to add a nice veteran presence that has been around and has done a few things, especially somebody Tyler Lockett, who has a lower draft capital and who has came into the league as just a special team guy, who ended up being one of the most talked about franchise wide receivers for the Seattle Seahawks. So I think he's going to be a great example for the Restrepos, for everybody else. And I think that wide receiver room is going to take a little bit to gel, but I think it's a lot better hands than it was last year.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's definitely better than last year. Last year was a joke. The fact that Westbrook Akine left and that was a big deal is hilarious to me.
They lost their future.
Dude, yeah, he had like 23% of their touchdowns. Like, yeah. I mean, that's insane.
But they had like 20 touchdowns. So, like... So the last question I have for you guys before we head out of here, I know it's going a little bit longer than we anticipated. Was there anyone who wasn't drafted that you were surprised?
I think, especially because going for a lot of like the Twitter and the Reddit hypes, that's a lot out of Detroit not being drafted was a little bit of a surprise, especially because he's somebody who I think I will take in my one draft that I have in Labor Day. I think he is somebody, again, who has a chance to move up. Hey, Well, we got breaking news here. I don't know if you want this in the pod.
Yeah,
I saw that too.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So I mean, you can edit it if you want it in or not, but nevertheless, lost my train of thought. That came through.
Tesla.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
I think you can say that. No, you can say what the breaking news was.
Oh, okay, cool. I didn't. The breaking news came through that Jim Irsay, the owner of the Colts, passed away.
He heard your take on Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah, I upset him a lot.
Oh man.
Damn, Tom. Damn.
I'm sorry.
No, that was shocking. When I saw that, I was like, "Whoa! Did he pass away, or are they just saying it now?" Wow, it's pretty crazy. But
no. So thoughts and prayers for the Colts organization. I know he was heavily involved. I know he was a huge music memorabilia buff. I know he has like all kinds of like crazy guitars and like concert use guitars and stuff like that. And so I'm interested to see exactly how this downfall is. But the thoughts are with the Colts organization. It's going to be sticky.
No, absolutely, yeah.
But no train of thought. Tesla. I think the Lions traded up a lot. I think 2 third-round picks or something for him, or 3 third-round picks for him, and moved him up. There's a lot of hype with him in regards to he's a dynasty sweetheart so far coming into it. So just out of that hype alone, and just from the team, the Lions being the offensive juggernaut that they are, surprised that he didn't go.
Yeah, no, that was the kind of the one that I was looking at too. Tom, do you have anyone who you kind of were surprised?
I think 2 that would jump out to me just simply because of the hype would be Pat Bryant out of Denver and Jarquez Hunter out of the Rams.
Yeah, Pat Bryant. Wow, confusing both of them together. Yeah, Pat Bryant. He sounds like everything that I hear. He's basically like Cortland Sutton's heir apparent.
Yeah,
that's kind of what I've been hearing. I don't know if you've heard the same thing. So
yeah, and being compared to Michael Thomas a lot. And whenever you have the coach comparing him to one of his former greats, I kind of take notice and that sort of thing. If he's a coach's guy, I like that opportunity.
No, yeah, absolutely. And you said it earlier, Jeremy. Somehow he finds these dudes that he wants on his team, and they succeed. Like it's insane. So, we talked about 2 earlier. I'm just going to throw out one other name who I think should have been drafted earlier, but I've been a Texas fan for a long time. Quinn Ewers. If something happens to Tua again this year, which is probably the case, Quinn Ewers is probably the starter. So
I think it's an easy argument.
Huh?
I think it's an easy argument to make.
Yeah, so just in case that happens, I've been thinking Quinn Ewers might not be a bad pick late in your last round or something along those lines as well. But I just always have to talk about Quinn Ewers because I liked him so much in college. So, but yeah, I think those are the 4 guys that I kind of saw as well that could have been on the list, but I don't think there's anyone I would have taken off. That's the difference. So, except for Shador, but we won't get into that. So, you guys have anything else you'd like to say? Tom, thanks for joining us for sure.
Thank you guys for your hospitality and for having me.
Yeah, the same thing. I just want to follow up with pleasantries. Tom, thanks for joining. I think this was a fun little draft to see different opinions from individuals who I haven't drafted with yet, and to see exactly a true human ran mock draft post NFL draft. So, I mean, I think this was a nice little project.
Cool. Yeah, and we might do something like this again in the coming weeks or whatever months as we have nothing going on for football.
We got camps. We'll have camps and everything else like that, and OTAs and that kind of thing kind of falling through, and we'll get a little bit more reports even just in these next few weeks with the voluntary camps that are reporting. Like we already had the Jags report and stuff, so we're going to get a lot more rookie hype coming out of here. And then, hey, maybe by August we'll know who the quarterback is for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Hey, we're going to know this week, remember?
I got nothing on that.
I know you don't.
I just really hope it's one of 2 guys and not that's already in that locker room right now. yeah, if you guys are all good, for Jeremy and obviously our special guest today, Tom, I'm Mickey. This has been Dynasty from the Mountaintops. Make sure you check us out on YouTube, Apple, Podbean. Hit us up on socials, X, Facebook, Blue Sky, and email us at dynastymttops@gmail.com. Feedback or comments or any topics you want to hear, as we are slowing down the Dynasty season right now. Trying to find some things to talk about. So anything you want to hear, let us know. But again, for special guest Tom and Jeremy, I'm Mickey, and this has been Dynasty from the Mountaintops. Have a great night.